US wants to ban TikTok, what are your thoughts? The type of information they are being accused of tracking should not be available to any app makers. If the device allows that to be info to be passed to an app, in my opinion that's a problem with the security of the device, not just something we should blame on the app. Instead of banning TikTok, we should have some real privacy laws, and put it on the manufacturers of the operating system to enforce them. They are not just tracking info, they are siloing and artificially boosting some types of content, and downplaying others. That's the actual issue. At the end of the day, at the top of every Chinese company is the CCP, a hostile foreign government. If you get a person's attention for multiple hours a day, and control what they see, you can subtly change their worldview. It's so popular now that it's too powerful for China to not use sooner or later, if not already. Any country with that kind of power over an enemy would use it. They already use our social media to fuck with us at the user level, there's no way they aren't using their own as the man behind the curtain. They already used it to downplay the protests last month, and are currently hiding information about the COVID outbreaks now ravaging the country. That's why I don't use TikTok. Other apps and websites are just gonna use your information to sell to advertisers. We have no idea what the Chinese government is doing with our information. They are not just tracking info, they are siloing and artificially boosting some types of content, and downplaying others. So, like Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. In and of itself that's not really a nefarious thing. That's how feeds work. You're not just showed a truly random shuffle, which people have been shown to hate. There's an algorithm determining how you receive content. That algorithm should be open for scrutiny, but its very existence is frankly just a given. Sounds like they're trying to get rid of the symptom of privacy concerns, and not the problem, which is how no tech company or corporation respects individual privacy. To be fair, not a lot of individuals care enough about individual privacy. I think a lot of people do, but when every website, app asks you to agree to their privacy policy or cookie policy, people become desensitized at best, and don't even know what those entail at worst. Ideally, we should be able to trust our government and elected officials to ensure that I don't have to read 300 pages of terms and conditions a day to know that companies aren't tracking everything about me. But when every website/app asks you to agree to their privacy policy or cookie policy, people become desensitized at best. The extension Ghostery has a never consent feature that makes it a bit easier to choose never. Honestly, I discover a lot of privacy-based add-ons every time I go to the Firefox add-on store. I'm always sad how little Firefox is used in comparison to Chrome. Google is changing the security policy so that the adblock extensions have different and fewer permissions to see what they're doing. I guess I would say. It doesn't mean the adblock extensions will go away, it just means they might not be as quick, or as effective at saving bandwidth while blocking the ads. It's not the first time that kind of stuff has happened, but it's annoying for sure. Try buying a television that doesn't have smart features, and in EULA. They cost way more than the televisions with the computers crammed in them. And no, it's not economy of scale making them so much cheaper. Our viewing habits are tracked and sold. We are the product. Its state-sponsored status is also kind of a big deal. I already don't like that we're willing to give away our data to private ad companies and POCs. I really don't like cutting out the middleman to let a state actor push their intended video algorithms on us, while mining our data. Edit: no, Twitter does not commit genocide. No, Facebook is not about to invade Taiwan. No, Meta is not encroaching so much on the South China Sea that allies are begging for help. If you have a false equivalence to draw, fuck right off. Established American companies are at least subject to American law. Google has to show how it uses and sells our data in some ways, but not in others. Like Google could not get away with selling your name, location, and transcript of TXTs made on your Android. The concern isn't that companies are storing people's data. The concern is that when TikTok does it, it ends being accessible by the Chinese government. As a former teacher, I worry about how it's impacting kids. Many of them watch it for hours daily, and there's been tons of issues with them following idiotic TikTok trends. It also is used by a lot of minors, so security issues are concerning. I don't think the first reason is enough to ban it, but the second might be. Dopamine manipulation is a real thing. It isn't exclusive to TikTok, though. Yay, like that one website, where you read a headline, and go straight to the comments looking for people arguing on the internet. Maybe I'm in denial, but I feel like I do at least learn something on Reddit half the time. I learned that jumping spiders are cute, that baby giraffes need the long fall to the ground when they're born to start breathing, and that Elon Musk is even more of a little bitch than I previously thought. TikTok has informative and educational content too. High school me used to spend hours a day on Reddit. I remember when Reddit went down, I genuinely could not figure out how to spend my time. Reddit can be just as bad emo. Parents need to parent. TikTok is made to be as addictive as possible, and yet parents just hand it to their kids and walk away. Then cry when their kids turn into screen zombies. Edit, not defending TikTok, nor is it welcome in my house. Purposely targeting people to steal their data and give it to the Chinese government isn't cool. If it's not TikTok, it'll be something else. It was Vine before, and now every platform is trying to get that endless scroll of vertical shorts going. Educate about the stupid trends and online safety. Yes, a lot of young people do spend extreme amounts of hours on TikTok, but it could be way worse. For example, having your kids spend hours and hours on Reddit every day. I was a kid long before TikTok, and kids will always do dumb things they see. They are kids. People wanted to ban Jackass, because kids were doing the stupid things they saw there. If you ban TT, there will just be something else. The solution isn't taking things away, it's about educating kids, and as you know, that's hard. People used to doom scroll chat room, Facebook, Reddit. TT is no different. Would probably be the best for everyone. Chinese people are most negatively affected by the Chinese version of the app. There are 600 million Chinese Douyin users. That's more than the entire population of the US. It would be nice for everyone if Douyin, TikTok vanished off the face of the planet. Funny thing is, in China, the app moderates content for under 14-year-olds to educational topics, and limits its usage time. Meaning they realize its addictive and harmful potential but don't want to protect foreign children from it. China is trying to transform the future generations to useless influencers instead of scientists. So they are really not the ones being negatively affected. China implies the government, not the Chinese people as a whole. No one, reasonable, blames the citizens for their leaders' shenanigans. Lol. Lamau. The only reason the US is kicking around the idea is because it's Chinese. If good old American companies want to track data and fuck our attention spans, that's okay. On the one side, I think it would benefit the psychology of a lot of people, both kids and adults. On the other side, there are hella hot women showing off their armpits on TikTok, and I don't know what I'd do if that went away. On government phones, people are so quick to give half the story. Jesus Christ. Edit, I've been made aware there is another bill being introduced by Rubio for a complete ban. Apologies for the misinformation. There are multiple bills. One is about the use on government phones. The other isn't just about that, but about blocking and prohibiting any transaction with TikTok. Edit, there's also another bill that wants to ban its use in military and some other government installations. Because that isn't half the story? You're talking about a completely different bill. Lol. The one written by Marco Rubio would ban TikTok in the USA, would not be allowed to be supported by iPhones or Androids. A lot of ban-happy people here in support of a law that arguably grants the federal government even more power to restrict free speech and the flow of information on the internet. In my view, the right way to do this for Congress to pass a law that prevents any company from selling U.S. consumer data to China and Russia, or they cannot do business or advertising in the U.S. That is a sensible legislation. That's not what the ban TikTok bill is. Per the Senate's page, the bill's provisions is to ban any and all social media company that are under the influence of China, Russia, and other designated countries. Arguably, it doesn't matter if the companies collect data at all, as long as they are under the influence, whatever that means. The bill provides a generous exception for any app that may be otherwise under provisions of this act, including apps under the influence of China, Russia, but ostensibly serves U.S. national security interests, or provides information to the U.S. National Security Agency as part of an authorized intelligence activity, or pursuant to reporting requirements of the National Security Act of 1947. This bill would also sweep in companies that have their principal place of business in China, or companies that have a 10% or more of the voting stock or shares of a company. You read the full bill here. What does that even mean? Who gets to decide what is under the influence of China? The president? A court of law? If a president believes that Russia is using a misinformation campaign on Reddit or Facebook, can they threaten to ban the Reddit or Facebook app, unless Reddit, Facebook adopts policies the president wants enacted? I can think of at least one or few judges who might think, under the letter of Rubio's proposal, that this would be permissible. We know there are at least a few trigger-happy political candidates who accuse the mainstream media like CNN, NY Times, etc., of being communist extensions of China. They are in the government right now. Should we empower them to continue to use the scepter of China, in order to further curb our liberties and freedoms and grant them unafforded discretion to restrict access to the internet, so long as a plausible argument can be made that they are under the authority of China? Ironically, this approach would bring us closer to our Chinese counterparts' philosophy to the internet than we think. In short, if you want to protect user privacy, ban the actual act of selling user data or collating user data to China. Don't just ban apps using ambiguous and vague language like, under the control of China, because that could mean anything the executive wants it to mean. And for good measure, don't include an exception allowing companies to harvest our data as long as they comply with reporting the information to the federal government's intelligence agencies. Glad to see a sane take here. Also, for everyone in this thread criticizing TikTok as a platform, I'm sure you all don't have your own Reddit addiction. There are already people in this thread accusing others of being Russian trolls for raising concerns, so I am not surprised people self-censor themselves, which is why you had to scroll this far to find a response like this. This places a huge echo chamber lol. It doesn't surprise me that Redditors want TikTok banned as opposed to more stringent privacy and media manipulation laws. It fits well with the general McCarthyism here. Go ahead and ban it though. I'm not American. Don't be surprised if the government bans random apps, because they're from other countries though. Better shelter those American minds from the outside world. Nothing will change. YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels will fill the void. A lot of useless people are going to find out how useless they are. Edit, I understand the irony of this post. The government doesn't have the power to ban software. What they do have the power to do is require Apple and Google to remove TikTok from their stores, or be in violation of the consent decree. A consent decree is a promise by both parties to regularly review, critique and recommend changes to ensure user data integrity and safety. The decree allows the companies a level of immunity, while working through concerns, if it is discovered that user data may be stolen, or misappropriated by apps offered on the store. It's highly likely that the consent decree will work, as it always has, despite heightened concerns. But even if the app is removed from the online stores, users who really want TikTok would still be able to sideload the app by downloading the APK from TikTok's website directly. I'm kind of an absolutist in that I believe the government should keep its mitts out of governing what is available on the internet, provided it doesn't violate other laws like child porn or human trafficking or drug sales and such. And those should be prosecuted under the existing laws. I find it a slippery slope. If they ban TikTok, what's to stop them from banning porn, or Reddit, or some company who's riling up people against the status quo? I find TikTok to be a vapid house of stupidity, and it sounds like their data policies are no bueno. But it's not my place or the government's place to tell people what to do with their time or their information. I'm in favor of educating people to the risks, and letting them decide for themselves. Trump is toxic enough on Reddit that he could say that he loved puppies, and Reddit would blow up about how puppies are the spawn of Satan, and really should be eradicated from the face of the earth for the good of humanity. It doesn't matter what Trump says, people online are going to rabidly and loudly disagree with it. It's a little amusing how Redditors think they're so much more intelligent than everybody else, but will start foaming at the mouth at the mere mention of Trump. I am by no means a fan of him, but he's also not the devil incarnate like many here would like to believe. I've seen way too many threads get derailed because one person didn't mind one thing that Trump did, and then they have to start defending themselves by saying they're not a Nazi. I don't use TikTok, but it's fucked to go after a specific company or platform, rather than putting in legislative benchmarks, and then banning anyone that breaches the requirements. Of course they're happy to ban a Chinese-owned corporation, and let the rest of the scum slide because they're owned and run by white Americans. Sadly, TikTok being gone won't make a difference, seeing as YouTube and many other apps stole the entirety of the app's concept and design. Additionally, TikTokers are switching to YouTube. They have been for a while, and with YouTube Shorts being so popular, the cringe that is TikTok will never go away. It's here to stay, and that's it. However, if TikTok disappeared, at the end of the day, it won't make a huge difference. Plus my guess is, people will use a VPN.